It's time for the Cupdate on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
There he goes to make his move. He's going to switch back over. Oh, the block, and around goes the 34. And Reddick steals one. That was almost
wow, what a way to win at Talladega. And there's your typical post-checkered flag scene at any race at Talladega. Cars just torn to shreds and spinning all over the place. We see it each and every year at Talladega, at Daytona. But in this case, Tyler Reddick gets the victory. Michael McDowell, well, he's left with a junked car that his crew's going to have to work on quite a bit. Hello and welcome into the Action Sports Jax Cupdate post-Talladega edition as we break down what was another super speedway event out at Talladega. Look ahead to Dover here. We'll catch up with Josh Berry a little later on in the show, and we'll certainly talk about that Michael Jordan guy. You may be familiar with him. Big topic, of course, this weekend in NASCAR. Let's talk about that final wreck that decided the race in Talladega. And it all came down to the front stretch on the final lap. I mean, you see Michael McDowell, who's been controlling things for quite some time. Brad Keselowski, veteran move, backs himself up to Noah Gragson to try and make that final push to the end to get that run. Goes to the high side. McDowell with one block. Goes to the low side. McDowell's second block, well, as you know, did not turn out quite so good for the 34 Front Row Motorsports as he sends it up into the fence. And how about the 45? Tyler Reddick coming out of nowhere to pass those Fords on the inside and get another victory for Team Toyota. Tyler Reddick into victory lane for the first time this year as 23-11 notches a win at Dega.
I'd say that late, I'm just holding it wide open. Doesn't even, I can just close my eyes. I'm going to hold it wide open. I'm going to do whatever it takes to not lift. That's just the mentality you got to have here. You just got to kind of throw caution to the wind. And as it turned out, I mean, the 10 and the 6 kind of got stacked up when Michael got turned sideways. And thankfully, I had just enough momentum to get by both of them.
You know, going back to Daytona, I think that dual race that Tyler won down there did a lot for his experience. We worked a lot on super speedway racing this winter, and did a lot of film study and a lot of discussion between him and the spotter. And we had a different plan going in this year, and he's done well. And I think that win down there gave him the confidence that he can do this, and that he expects to run up front now.
Yeah, pretty cool to see that Daytona correlation. So we all know Michael Jordan is one of the two co-owners of 2311 Racing, of course, with Denny Hamlin the other. How about this? This is the first time that Michael Jordan has been in person to see his race team win. You see the terrific video from front stretch there showing him celebrating with the crew as the race comes to its dramatic conclusion. I mean, just look at the smile, look at the excitement from Michael Jordan. This is a guy who is quite literally the GOAT. I mean, he's won 6 championships in the NBA, one of the greatest players of all time, and he is just over the moon in this kind of next chapter of his sporting career as Michael Jordan gets a chance to experience the spoils of victory as a team owner in NASCAR for the first time in person.
Look, I'm very happy to be here to see it. You know, I always, everybody tells me when we win, we can have a good celebration, but this is the first time I've been here. And to my wife and my kids and everybody, yeah, we did it. I'm sorry I left you home. I'm all in. I love it. You know, it replaces a lot of the competitiveness that I had in basketball, but this is even worse, because I have no control. If I was playing basketball, I have total control, but I have no control, so I live vicariously through the drivers and all the crew chiefs and everybody. So, I mean, I'm very happy for 2311, 110%.
I didn't know Michael was here till after the race was over, so maybe that was a trick, not us not knowing that he was here, because in the past we've known he's here. We always push really, really hard, right? But it would make it extra special if we're able to take him to victory lane. So maybe it was a good thing I didn't really know he was here until it was all said and done.
Those are moments that the crew guys get to, talk about with their kids for many, many years as well, right? We got to celebrate with Michael here, winning in his car. It's just, these are certainly important memories that these these men and women are going to experience for a very long time. And, Bo has no idea the significance of his moment.
I was talking to him before the race, and he watches every truck race, every Xfinity race, every Cup race, just trying to learn and understand what we're going through and figure out how he can help from the owner's side. And it's impressive, and just to see the excitement on his face, that's what I enjoyed.
And it's one of those things that the entire sport needs to be happy about, right? Because, yes, here on the Cupdate, we're going to talk about the race no matter what happens. But you look at some of the national programs when it comes to sports television, they're talking about Michael Jordan being at a NASCAR race, and they're talking about NASCAR and how big the Cup Series is, and for Jordan to get that victory. So you're being put at the top of people's minds and in that consciousness, and that's huge for the sport. Especially when they're battling against others to try and get that attention, to get that TV time. As they say, jump man, jump man, jump man. Then boys up to something as the number 45 team, 23, 45, the two race cars for Team Jordan. Team 2311 Racing gets the win. Of course, Reddick beating out Keselowski. Brad finishing second for a second straight week. So close to getting Ford in victory lane for the first time this year. Still hasn't happened. Still a story. Still something we're going to talk about. But how about Noah Gragson? That is a career best finish for him in third. Let's hear from the second and third place drivers after their performance at Talladega.
I backed up. Noah gave me a great push, and I wanted to make a move on Michael, and he covered it, and I went back the other way. I got another push from Noah, and I just nowhere to go when Michael came back down. So I hate that for him. He's a good guy. I hope he's all right. Just kind of the way this stuff goes, right? But all in all, a really solid day for us, for Ford, for Castrol, and another second. It's a solid day, but not the win we wanted.
The bottom side rolling there at the end, and went from the back to the front a handful of times, led some laps with the Overstock team. Really thankful for Drew Bliggensterfer, our spotter, Andy Houston, and the rest of these Overstock guys that did an incredible job, and just came up a couple spots short, but we'll keep the momentum rolling, good points day, and focus on to next weekend.
Yeah, so I certainly understand the fact that Talladega can be a bit of a crapshoot, but you kind of have to give some props to the guys who don't normally get a chance to run up front and what they were able to do. I know we'll go more in depth on Anthony Alfredo here in just a little bit, but Todd Gilliland coming in with the top 10 in one of those front row motorsports. By the way, that team has figured out the super speedway racing, not only in qualifying, but in keeping those cars out front. They certainly showed it with McDowell throughout the race, and Gilliland ending where he does. Daniel Hemrick with the top 10. Corey LaJoie, he finishes 18th despite finishing sideways. He was sliding across the start-finish line on the side, the driver's side of his car, as wild as that is. And McDowell just the tough luck loser in it, because he ends up in 31st despite leading about 5 seconds before the finish. Couldn't cross that finish line, so last guy on the lead lap. We check out victory lane, shall we? And it's growing. Another new member as Tyler Reddick hops in there. As you'll see throughout the course of the season, I have to rearrange the organization. We're in a 2-3-2 pattern right now. We'll see where we go after this. 3-2-3, probably our next move when we add another driver. And I think we will continue to add drivers as the parity continues to show throughout NASCAR. Here you have victory lane and another Toyota in there as he joins Christopher Bell as well as Denny Hamlin. So along with all the Hendrick guys. You'll get all the Hendrick guys in there eventually, because I'm still convinced Bowman's going to win one at some point this year and join his 3 Hendrick teammates, but that's down the road. You take a look at the latest driver standings. Martin Truex Jr. there in second. Another strong performance from him. We'll come up with a pretty cool stat about that in just a little bit. But then you got your winners. 5 of the top 6 guys in the standings have all won races already this season, with defending champion Ryan Blaney in 7th. All right, let's talk about some of the key things from this race in Talladega, and we'll start with the fuel-saving game. I know a lot of people are, well, they're not happy about it because of the fact that these racers were purposefully going significantly slower than full throttle. And the reason why was just because of the way that the stages kind of broke up in order to save that gas, save that time, really, because the less gas you burn, the less gas you have to put into the car, the quicker the pit stops when you're trying to get ahead of somebody in those pit stops throughout the course of the race. So I certainly get it. I don't know if there's an answer to it other than manipulating the stage lengths, which NASCAR can certainly do. If you make it into a full run or 2 full runs, you're really handcuffing these teams that are trying to slow things down and use the draft to their advantage. This is only something that you're going to worry about in a drafting track, simply because of how much fuel you can save when you're in the giant 3-wide, 2-wide packs that you see at Talladega. Speaking of strategy, well, Toyota certainly had a strategy, and it went awry, as you can tell. The big wreck after the entire Toyota squad comes into pit. Now, the funny thing about this is that, yes, this ended the day for Bubba Wallace, for John Hunter Nemechek, for Eric Jones, as well as Denny Hamlin. It actually did propel Tyler Reddick to have good field position because, track position, because of the fact that he got out there, was already pitted. Everyone else came into pit after that, and he was out in the front, which certainly helped by the end of the race. So, yes, it went badly for 4 of the guys. But for the one who won, pretty happy about it. And our final big talker of the weekend is pylons. Yeah, we're talking about scoring pylons, those giant towers that tell you who's in first to 15th, how many laps are complete. I'm showing you the Daytona one, which still stands, although in a different setting now. I believe they have the video board. This one's a little older, the video here. But it's interesting because the last 2 weeks, folks have showed up to the racetrack, and those scoring pylons that they're used to seeing are gone. Texas Motor Speedway, gone. Talladega Superspeedway, getting rid of theirs. And I will say, I love the scoring pylon because when we're doing our job at the Daytona 500, it's really easy to take a look up, see where the guys are, find out what pit you need to go to, and see who's celebrating at the end of the race. We'll see if other racetracks continue this trend. I'll show you a funny tweet sent out by Dover in just a little bit. All right, let's get back to Anthony Alfredo, shall we? And for me, he's my most impressive performer simply because of the fact that he doesn't do this that often, right? He is not a full-time Cup Series driver. He's filling in that 62 car, a car that doesn't have a charter, that's really out there for the superspeedway races because they feel like they can go and put together a great performance. Well, kudos to Anthony Alfredo. He put together a great performance. They go out there, finish 6th in the Cup Series, also had a 3rd place finish in the Xfinity Series, and does a great job out there promoting his sponsor and getting a great finish, not tearing up his car. So, hey, congrats to Anthony Alfredo and the whole Beard Motorsports team putting together a top 10 finish. All right, let's bring you out to the social wall, shall you? And we'll start with a little breaking news from this week. Eric Jones, if you saw the hard wreck with the Toyotas, he was the one who went to the outside wall into the safer barrier, was released from the care center, went back for more evaluation at a local hospital. Well, he has a spine fracture and will be out at Dover this upcoming week. So filling in will be Corey Heim, who's going to do double duty at Dover this weekend as he also races in the Xfinity Series. But thoughts out to Eric Jones. He posted a video talking about his recovery and how he's going to try and get back as soon as he can. So good to see that he is still in high spirits. Let's go through some interesting stats, shall we? We love stats on this show. This is the decreasing DNF percentage that's did not finish when it comes to the next gen car. You're talking about here in 22, that was the beginning of the next gen, the Gen 7 car. And look at how that's gone down, the percentage of DNFs through this stage of the race, the year. That's 10 races into the year, and already 3 super speedways, which is the races that really tear up the cars the most. But down to 10.1, that's the lowest it's been in 8 years now. So interesting that the durability of these cars is coming together. Also, we're getting a lot of different winners when it comes to the new next-gen car. In the 10 races at Daytona and Talladega, this isn't including Atlanta, although that's now super speedway too, basically. 10 different winners between Daytona and Talladega. When you look at the 12 races before that, I mean, half of them were won by Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney, the 11 and 12. So we're getting a lot of more random winners at the end of the race. Don't know how that is affecting the strategy of it. Certainly interesting. We talked about Michael Jordan being a team-owning winner. Well, that means you get some tweets from some pretty big names. Magic Johnson, congratulations to my good friend Michael Jordan, talking about him winning in this race. LeVar Burton, Geordie LaForge out there, a little Reading Rainbow shout out, saying congrats to Michael Jordan for winning in NASCAR. I'm telling you, people start talking about NASCAR when a guy like Michael Jordan visits victory lane. We'll end with one more Michael Jordan. Thanks to NASCAR, Michael Jordan enjoys being around Pistons for the first time in his life. NASCAR Chasm. If you don't follow him, I don't know what you're doing. Just tremendous content all the time. All right, let's take a break here on the Cupdate, shall we? Coming up next, how about the rookie roller coaster for Josh Berry? We'll chat with the driver of the number 4. Coming up next right here on the Cupdate. What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
You're watching the Cupdate on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Stay in line here. Stay in line. Come and checker. Mid. Go mid. Mid.
Oh, I mean, what do you do, right? You are just right in the hornet's nest. You go flying for a little bit. Don't flip over, thank goodness. But that's the view from Josh Berry as he was lined up for a top 5 finish. Ends up spinning around. Not quite exactly what you're looking for in Talladega. All right, welcome back to the Action Sports Jax Cupdate. Josh Berry is such an interesting case. It was great chatting with him before the season started as he got ready for this first year full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series. Well, we had a chance to catch up with him again this week as coming off of the Talladega race, looking ahead to a race at Dover, a place where he has done extremely well in limited starts, at least in the Xfinity Series, 2 seconds and a win. You see the before and after at Talladega. It really has been a roller coaster rookie season for a guy like Josh Berry. But, hey, roller coasters have ups too, right? Maybe this week will be one in Dover.
We feel good about where we're at. We feel like we've been running better than we finished. We've been running better than we've been finishing. The data showed that for us. So we just have to keep plugging along and the results will come.
3 different attempts in the Cup Series at Dover, 3 different teams. And from my perspective, it's kind of been 3 very different situations going into it, from the first ever Cup start to being the relief driver over at Hendrick to now being a full-time guy with the team. Can you kind of describe the different mindsets for you going into your races at Dover as you head into it here this week?
Yeah, each one was, each one's different, right? I think, obviously my first Cup start there being with Spire, they were pretty much like, don't wreck the car. We're not really here to race. We're just going to ride around and do the best we can. But it was still fun to get to run a Cup Series race. I was part-time in the Xfinity Series like that, and it was a great experience for me to come get to do. And last year in the 48, that was, it was a lot of fun, right? I think we had come off a really strong. We run second in the Xfinity race the day before, so to get a top 10 in the Cup race was a lot of fun. I think it was a great opportunity for me to work with those guys and learn and run a race and be competitive and get a solid finish. So, yeah, I think with all that now, I feel more excited to go back and work with Rodney and these guys. I think that they've had some strong cars. They've had good cars. at Dover, even in the next gen era, right? I think sometimes we forget, that we're in a totally different car than what a lot of, those guys have had over the years. And they had good cars there last year, had an issue with a tire that put them behind. So I think we've seen that these tracks that we can kind of, at least for it seems like so far, we've been able to see that these tracks that we kind of have circled that we know that I'm a little more comfortable at and they have good cars at, we've been able to circle those, and we've had strong runs at nearly every one of them. So hopefully that we can do the same thing this weekend.
You kind of mentioned it before. Those last 2 times you went to Dover, you had raced the Xfinity Series the day before. This time you're not. This year you've been all Cup Series, and we kind of talked about it before the season started, just how you're going to be able to focus on Cup. How much have you noticed that through these first couple months of the season, your ability to focus just on the one series?
Yeah, no, I think I think it's helped with the Cup car for sure. I felt like last year that even though usually there was several races that we had good results, there was still a adaptation from the Xfinity car to the next gen car and how it drove differently and how it felt, and just especially coming off of a race like that. Where the Xfinity race where you're running, 200 laps in a car that's much different. I think just being able to focus on the Cup car has been a little bit of a weight off my shoulders, and just understanding how, making sure that I understand how to continue to evolve and learn how to adapt to that. So, I don't know if the results will be any different, but I think it's a little bit easier from bouncing back and forth between the cars. Just the cars, you just visually look at them, they're just so incredibly different that it's just making it continually hard to jump back and forth like that, especially when you're trying to learn on the fly.
Bold prediction, I'm going to say top 10 for Josh Berry this week at Dover. All right, still to come, where you take a different drive in Daytona. That's next on the Cupdate. What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
You're watching the Cupdate on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Look at the schedule for this upcoming weekend at Dover Motor Speedway. Friday, early evening, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, 5 o'clock. ARCA, hopefully better than last week's ARCA race, which was woof. Saturday, 1:30, you got the Xfinity cars going at it at Dover. And then Sunday, 2 o'clock for the Cup Series. Mark your calendar, by the way, 2 o'clock, a little earlier than we've had for the afternoon green flag so far this season. Welcome back to the Cupdate. You take a look at Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile getting set to play host to the NASCAR Cup Series this upcoming weekend. When you talk about what tracks look like when they're not being used, you think about Daytona. Let's talk about Daytona and its versatility as we take a different drive. This weekend, it's Jeeps taking over all of Daytona. It's what they call Jeep Beach. Jeep Beach. They actually go on the beach too, so I guess it makes sense that they go on the beach if it's called Jeep Beach. But Jeep enthusiasts are going to be taking over Daytona International Speedway. You see the obstacle course that those Jeep owners get a chance to go on, go see Jeep products, go see Jeep people. If you're watching this show and you like Jeeps, head to Daytona this weekend. Going to be a whole lot of fun down there for you. Maybe not for me, but for you. Check it out. That's this week's Different Drive here on the Cupdate. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Cupdate. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. We leave you with our quiet track shot of the week. This one from Zach Sterniolo of NASCAR.com. Talladega after the carnage. Have a good day, buddy.
Thanks for watching the Cupdate on Action Sports Jax 24/7.